I think we found the last of the Cox's Orange Pippins. I think this is a Cox's Orange Pippin. There's a couple up here, and the wonderful thing that you can do is just reach in, like being in a museum, except you can eat them. This one's been nibbled a little bit, but 90%, 95% of the apple is beautiful, and we're going to try it. Okay. This is what happens when you pick a tree that only has 2 apples on it. It's a bit flowery because it's well over ripe. But some apples, like a Granny Smith, very rare to have them left on the tree well into winter, but I've been told, and I have tasted them, that when you leave the apple on the tree until after the first frost and the snow and all the leaves have dropped, the apples that are still on the tree will develop what's called a honey core, a sugar core, and it looks like the centre of it has been saturated with honey, the core. This is not a honey core by any means. I mean, we're not looking at the core, but this is just a flowery apple. But that doesn't mean that this apple would not cook up beautifully as well, because apples are not just about dessert apples, there's cooking apples too. And I think in Australia we get used to all apples being something that you put in a kid's lunchbox, but many apples in the world are beautiful for cooking into apple sauce or to putting into pie or making something like a puree or something with it. Cox's are a very famous apple because they are the quintessential dessert apple. They have the best flavour. If you look up on the internet and you type in Cox's Orange Pippin, you get a lot of information coming in that tells you that the Cox's Orange Pippin is the best flavoured apple with the most developed and sophisticated balance of sweetness and tart and all the other characteristics that make an apple what it is. And when they're developing new apples, the Cox's Orange Pippin is what they use as the standard to judge all other apples by. Okay. So if you get a chance to eat a Cox's Orange Pippin, you're very fortunate because they're not grown for longevity, they're not grown for storage, they're grown because they have the best flavour, and you won't get them very often because most apples nowadays, of course, are grown to tumble into a big box, to wax, and to put into cold storage and pulled out just as the need throughout the year arises for more fresh apples, but they're not fresh.
And sold by the duopoly.
And sold by the duopoly.
Whose names we won't mention.
Yeah, but ditch the duopoly, because if you don't give your power to little retailers who can support orchards like this, and if you don't give your money to orchards like this, then we won't have the variety left. We'll just have the big commercial trademarked apples like, you know, Red Delicious, which isn't really very delicious.